Welcome, everyone. We are here now to talk about the cast for the Challenge Season 40 Battle of the Eras, what promises to be one of the best casts and the best seasons we have had in a very long time. And we are now a week away from the season officially starting with episode 0 on August 7th, with the official season starting a week after that. The cast has been out for a while now, almost a month, actually more than a month. I just rather talk about the cast and all this stuff a week before the season officially starts, so here's me just doing my thing. But without further ado, let's start talking about the cast for the season. Let's go. We start with Era 1 and begin with the queen of always coming back to the challenge, Anissa. She's done 17 seasons. She has an elimination record of 14-13. And as far as her performance this season, I'm optimistic. We've seen her go far in seasons in the past, but she's always struggled to get to finals, and performance in dailies is subpar. So we can either see her go far in this season, but to miss the final, or we'll see her go home early. Time will tell. Next, we have Brad. He's done 13 seasons, has an elimination record of 8-8, and Brad has always had a performance higher than the average challenger, but this last season and the elimination we saw him on was 39. Those were off. Brad just was not himself. Now there has been some time between this season and All Stars 4, so maybe he's gotten back into his classic Brad self where he's a high performer. I hope so, because if he's at his best, Era 1 is definitely one to look out for. Next we have CT, the legend himself. He's done 19 seasons, has an elimination record of 6-5, and performance-wise, there's not much to talk about right here. It's CT. He's the Terminator. He's the man. He's going to crush the entire competition. I think it's going to be really hard to get him out of the game, and he's probably going to walk straight to the final. There's just no way to get CT out if it's a one-on-one competition. It would have to be some sort of strange twist where he's the only option to go into elimination to have even a shot at getting him out of the game. Now we have Darrell. He's done 14 seasons, has an elimination record of 8-6, and performance-wise, ever since he's come back to the challenge in double agents, he's gone on season after season after season. Darrell's performance has been varied. We've seen him do very well in certain seasons, going very far to make the final or almost make the final. But we've also seen him come on and go home rather early. I'm not sure which Darrell we're going to get. Maybe he'll be eliminated with something to do with heights. We know he has a big fear of those. Or we don't know yet. I have hope for Darrell. He's a nice guy. I want to see him succeed and get that fifth win. We'll just have to wait to see. Next we have Derek. He's done 13 seasons, has an elimination record of 10-7, maybe 11-7 since maybe we should consider that amazing mercenary round against Joss as an official win. Something to consider. And performance-wise, Derek has always been a very steady competitor, and I think that will translate to this season rather splendidly. I'm just wondering how many rounds can he go before he leaves, before he meets his match. I'm confident we'll see a lot of Derek in this season. I'm just wondering will he be able to make the final? He has been able to in the All-Star seasons, except for the first one where he didn't have to do much. I'm curious. Now we have Jody. She's done 5 seasons, has an elimination record of 2-3, and Jody has the least amount of experience of everyone on Era 1. However, she has 2 wins, which is pretty much average of everyone on this team. Jody definitely is a very strong competitor, and we saw that in both All-Stars 2 and World Championship. And we saw her take a big stance on both of those seasons. I'm just curious how she'll stack up against everyone else on this cast, because this is not a layup cast. Now we have Katie. She's done 11 seasons, has an elimination record of 4-8, and performance-wise, she's almost dead meat walking. Like, Katie has never performed well, and I don't expect her to do well on this season either. I just hope we get her for long enough to get some good confessionals, because I don't see her making the final and getting the win. Now we have the Godfather, Mark Long. He's done 8 seasons, has an elimination record of 3-2, and performance-wise, he's always been stable. He's always done really well. He's pretty much made the final on every single performance, every single season that he's done, that he's wanted to make the final of. So I think he has all the means to get to this final and potentially get the win. Like, he has come in the back of the pack on his most recent finals, but things could always change. So it's just a matter of how he'll be able to perform against this stellar cast that he's going up against. Next we have Rachel Robinson. She's done 8 seasons, has an elimination record of 2-3, and performance-wise, like, I don't see how anything will be different. Like, I think she's more fit, she's more strategic. I see Rachel going the distance this season, unlike the short run she had on All-Stars 4. Because I don't see the same political games being played that were on that season. Having the strong players go into each elimination, I think the opposite will be played, at least in the beginning portion. So I definitely see Rachel going the distance. Will she be able to make the final? That remains to be seen. Lastly, for Era 1, we have Tina. 8 seasons, an elimination record of 4-3, and performance-wise, well, Tina did really well in her original run on main season back in the early 2000s. The last 3 All-Star seasons she's been on have been subpar. Like I said before in my season review of All-Stars 4, that I was underwhelmed. However, like, the energy, I don't know, just something seems different. I'm more excited and optimistic for this run. Call me crazy. Just call me crazy for now. But I'm curious to see how Tina will perform this season, and I'm excited. And that is all, everyone, from Era 1. And now we are on to Era 2, the Trailblazers of the game. And starting us off, we have the original Fresh Meat champion, Aviv. She is a one and done in challenges, having been competed only in the original Fresh Meat back in 2004. So a complete 20-year gap between seasons. And she has an elimination record of 1-0, only going into one exile elimination during her season against DM and Derek, along with her partner Darrell, who is also on this season. Performance-wise, like, Aviv is the biggest unknown, seeing as she's only been one and done in challenges, and that was back 20 years ago. So I'm not really sure how she'll compete this season, and she's also probably the furthest removed from the game, so she doesn't really have any connections either. So we could either see her go far or see her be the first few out because again, no connections other than probably Darrell. Next, we have the right hand of the devil in the challenge, Bananas. He's done 23 seasons, has an elimination record of 14-15, and performance-wise, he's Bananas. I expect him to do really well, and I don't really expect him to face much resistance to get to that final. He's, again, one of the best to ever compete. He is the best to compete, having won 7 championships. It's Bananas. What can you do? He's one of the best. Next, we have Brandon. 6 challenges, has an elimination record of 3-5. Performance-wise, I expect Brandon to be solid throughout the season, but we haven't seen him be able to make the final. We haven't been able to see him go far in a season since, I want to say, Cutthroat, where he won those 3 eliminations. So, as far as performance-wise, I want him to do well, but I think in a stat cast like this, I think he's just undermatched. Now we have probably the female GOAT of the challenge. We have Cara Maria. She's done 15 seasons, has an elimination record of 15-6, and performance-wise, Cara has not missed a beat. Her All-Star Sport performance was spectacular, and I expected no less coming into the season. So watch out, everyone else. Now we have Derek. 5 seasons, has an elimination record of 1-4, and performance-wise, I think similar to Brandon, he's a bit undermatched in this All-Star stat cast. However, we saw him do really well in All-Stars 4, being the top male performer there as far as daily wins. And he has made it far into a season beforehand. I think as long as he doesn't go into eliminations early, I think he has a similar track record going to this season. But that is all speculation and needs to be proven. So I'm on Derek's side, but I'm also aware of the risk of supporting Derek. Now we have a big returner who coming back to the challenge along with Aviv. We have Emily. 3 challenges, 5-0 in eliminations, 1-time champion. In her 3 seasons, Emily was undefeated, one of the best to perform in each of those seasons, always making the final, and her last time she was on, she won. And it seems like ever since then, she's only gotten fitter and even better. So, are we going to get the same Emily who was completely dominant in those games? Or are we going to see something different? I honestly don't expect to see anything different. So, stacked female, deserves to be here 100%. I'm all for it. Now, we have one of the best females to never win. We have 7-time challenger, 6-5 elimination record, Kellyanne. Kellyanne has always done very well in the challenges. She's made it to 3 finals. So it came close to winning a couple times. On World Championship, her latest appearance, she was definitely a bright spot in that season. And she always does perform really well. As far as the StatCast goes, I think Kellyanne is just above the top tier here. However, I think Kellyanne can persevere and make it far. I'm glad she's here. Let's go. Now we have Laurel. 8 seasons, elimination record of 10-3. And now recently a 2-time champion with her win in All-Stars 4. Performance-wise, Laurel's a dominant player for sure. She's had missteps in the past before All-Stars 4. I'm pretty confident we're going to see a dominant Laurel in this season. Like, there's not going to be any missteps here. That remains to be seen. But I think Laurel is definitely going to persevere and dominate in this game. Now we have Nehemiah, 7 seasons, the elimination record of 7-4. Performance-wise, sort of like another person we'll talk about later. He's sort of like a challenger with 2 separate books. His original run from his debut season in the Duel to Rivals was sort of a mixed bag. Like he won his championship in the Gauntlet 3, but other than that he's never performed really well. Well, sort of like below the bottom of the guys on each season. However, when he came back to the challenge, it was All Stars. He performed really well in each of those seasons, almost making the final in the first All Stars, and then making the final twice in 2 and 3. He was always a big character, and always performed exceptionally well. So going into this Battle of the Eras, I expect Nehemiah to continue that streak of performing really well, and I want to see him make a final again and want to see him get a championship. Another one. And lastly, for Era 2, we have Ryan. 7 challenges, an elimination record of 3-5, performance-wise. I always doubted Ryan in the past. I thought he was a below-average challenger. However, in All-Stars 4, I sort of changed my tune for Ryan a bit. I think he can turn on a switch and perform well enough to at least survive. I'm not sure if he has what it takes to make a final or to win a final. However, I think he can do decently well in this cast. Not saying he's one of the best here. I think he's just below the middle tier. However, I have faith in Ryan to at least make it through to like the mid stage of the game at the very least. And that is all of Era 2 for you. Now we're at Era 3, the Game Changers. This is where rivalries and romances took full effect in the game. Our first player is Amanda. 7 challenges, an elimination record of 2-6. Performance-wise, definitely below average. Like, she's never made it to a final in any of her appearances, and unless it's a cerebral daily challenge, she really has no shot at winning that. But she is funny, she brings the drama, and she's great with a great TV presence. So maybe we can keep her around for a bit until she eventually gets eliminated. Next we have Avery, another grand return to the challenge. Three challenges, elimination record of 2-1, and performance-wise, she's always done. She's above average. Like we saw her on All Stars 4 recently, where she was never in any real danger of being eliminated because she kept herself safe either by winning challenges or staying in the middle. She didn't get to the final because of the Purge challenge. However, I think Avery does have a real shot at going the distance on this season, despite the fact that she's up against a very stacked cast of competitors. Now we have Corey Wharton. 8-10 challenges, an elimination record of 8-4. And performance-wise, like, Corey's always been really good at making the final. Like, he's made it to the final 5 out of 10 times that he's been on. Hasn't been able to get that win. But with this cast that it is, and Corey's general performance, like I think he's got a real shot at making it far, getting to the final. And as long as he's learned to change up his performance in the final so that he can do the puzzles, he can run the distance, I think he has a real shot at winning. Now, number 4, we have Devin. 7 seasons, elimination record of his 6-2, and performance-wise, like he's made it to 3 finals. He won recently with the Ride or Dies. Devin knows how to win because he's learned from his mistakes and he's improved consistently, and he's also made friendships and allies with some strong players in the game also. That's a big reason why he was able to win. I think he had the real shot at going the distance this season, and I'm curious to see how his gameplay will exist this season because it's a full returning cast, and there's no rookies. There's not the same amount of people as there usually are. So there's a chance that Devin doesn't have the numbers this season. Now we have John A, two-time challenge champ, 10 seasons, an elimination record of 4-6. Performance-wise, I said this earlier with Nehemiah. John A is a contestant with 2 challenge books. Her original challenge career consisted of her performing decently but never making the final, but always being a fan favorite. Then we get to her return with All Stars, and she's made the final in all 3 of those seasons, winning 2 of them. And then we saw her on World Championship and USA 2, where she didn't make it far, but she always performed decently well. And with those 5 recent performances, she's now in the consideration for best to ever play. And with this cast that it is, John A is definitely in the upper echelon of these women. So it's just a matter of can she make it to the final again and potentially win again? That remains to be seen. Going from one of the strongest women to one of the strongest men, we have Jordan. 9 seasons, elimination record of 12-6, 4-time champion. Like, there's not much to say about Jordan's performance. Like, he's one of the best to ever play. He's always been able to outwit, outplay, and outlast everyone else. Like, Jordan is probably the man to beat in the final because despite every single man here being a very stacked player, Jordan just has this way of being better than everyone that he goes up against. So unless you have the gall to try to take Jordan out directly, he's going to make the final, and if he makes that final, he is going to win. Like, there's no real debate about that. Now we have Leroy, 13 seasons, an elimination record of 10-5. Performance-wise, he's very similar to Corey. Has always done really well. He's made it to multiple finals, 5 finals to be precise. He has never been able to win any of those finals, but he has the relationships and the physical game to make it far into a season. He retired in Double Agents, returned in All Stars 4, and I think he really got the challenge bug back, and that's why he's here. Can Leroy get to the final again and this time win? That remains to be seen. Now we have Naya, 4-time challenger, elimination record of 4-2. Performance-wise, Naya's strong physically, but in all of the other aspects that makes her a challenger, she's not the best. So I think her physical prowess will keep her around for a while, but when she comes up against an elimination or a daily that does not astute to her abilities, that is when her real capabilities are going to show. And as far as the presence on the screen, that remains to be seen. She's known for drama, but she's retired on that toxic side of her. Now we have Tony, 7 seasons, an elimination record of 3-4. A one-time finalist. We recently saw him on All Stars 4 where he had to leave. As far as performance-wise, like, Tony's always done very well on the challenge, especially on his last 2 seasons, Vendettas and Final Reckoning, and Dirty 30, actually. All Stars 4 did not give me enough information to correctly assess how Tony would do today, so I'm honestly curious to see how he'll do on this season, but I do think he's a strong competitor and should go the distance unless he doesn't want to be there. And lastly, we have Tori Deal. 9 seasons, elimination record of 6-3. She's now a champion, winning Ride or Dies with Devin. She definitely has the social game. She has the physical game. No one really wants to try to take her out for some reason. Tori knows how to make the final. I expect her to make the final. I don't want her to make the final, but that's what we're going to get probably. I don't know. Tori's just a really good competitor. She's made herself into a really good competitor, and I honestly expect her to do really well this season, despite my best wishes, I guess. I don't really like Tori ever since World Championship. That's been publicly made known. We're going to see her on this season. We're probably going to see her for the entire season. So that's where I'm placing my bets right now. And that is all of Era 3 for all of you. One more era to go. Last but not least, we are at Era 4, the new generation. Players who have been part of the challenge since season 31 to season 39. And we start off with Horacio. Done 2 seasons of the challenge, 1-time finalist, elimination record of 6-1. Horacio showed a lot of potential in his first 2 seasons, being an all-around great athlete. And has relationships within this team. Let's see if he can go the distance against this all-star cast to make the final and potentially win. Next, we have the return of Jenny. She's done 2 seasons, War of the Worlds 2 and Total Madness, where she made the final in Total Madness and won, beating out everyone in that final. She has an elimination record of 3-1, and I think what I said previously summed it up really nicely. Jenny is a very strong female player who definitely showed that she has potential to be one of the best women to ever play. It's been a long time coming. She's been alternates on previous seasons, but never made it back to the main cast until now. So let's see if Jenny has what it takes to not only make a final again, but dominate that final. We shall see. Going from 2 strong competitors to potentially to one of the weakest men on this cast, we have Josh. 6 seasons. Elimination record of 1-6. Performance. Good in dailies, but always fumbles. He's the goof. He's the player that you want to have deep in the game so that you can throw him down into elimination and get an easy win back into the game. I've defended Josh in previous seasons, saying that he has potential, but once you get to 6 seasons in a row and not make a final and not really perform very well when it comes in clutch, I can't really defend you anymore. And especially against this all-time great cast, he's not one of the strongest men on this season. He's not even in the middle of the road. He's one of the bottom players. I think he has the social connections to make it far into the season. Do I think he can win? 0.5% chance. That's all I'm willing to give. And now we have his partner in crime, Casey. 5 seasons, an elimination record of 7-2, with those 2 elimination losses only coming because her brother in Ride or Dies was not the best player and was attached to her. Casey's performance is always sturdy. Ever since her Big Brother season, she's always been a consistent pace. Been very strong in the challenges. She's always made the final, except for Ride or Dies, again, because of her brother. She has all what it takes to be a great competitor. She also won a championship in Spy Size and Allies. I'm just not excited to see Casey because she's a boring presence on the screen. she does what it takes to get to the end, but like she isn't a fun presence while watching. And she has all the materials to be a good presence on television. Like she has a relationship with Nani, and yet it's never electric. I don't know. That's my only problem with Casey. But she is a strong competitor. She should make for a good addition to this Era 4 team. Let's move on. Next, we have Kyland. 2 seasons, the USA won, and a battle for a new champion. An elimination record of 5-2. Kyland showed very much promise on his first 2 seasons, almost making the final in battle for a new champion. Do I think he had a chance in this field of the best men to ever compete? Optimistically, yes. Like I think his mind and physical game can carry him in a lot of the dailies. It's just a matter of how far can he get. I'm not sure how he'll do necessarily, but I'm optimistic in the long run. And now we go to one of my favorite competitors of all time, probably my favorite reality presence ever to appear. We have Michelle Fitzgerald from Survivor. 4 seasons of the challenge. Elimination record was 3-3. Performance-wise, the first 2 seasons were a bit rocky, not making it very far. But then we saw her in USA 2 and Battle for New Champion, where she absolutely dominated Battle for New Champion politically, being the social butterfly and being the center of the house and just having everything go her way up until the end where she got purged right before the final. I really don't like that challenge. It really sucked. How I think Michelle will do this season? She has enemies on this cast. She's shown that she's not the best competitor when it comes to completing the daily challenges. I remain optimistic because she's my favorite presence on the challenge, my favorite competitor. But if I'm being logical, saying that she has a chance against Rachel, Johnny, Tori, Emily, like I'm willing to bet to that those competitors would win over Michelle. I hope she goes far. I want to see her succeed. This is going to be her 5th season. I think if she can make the final this season, I'm going to have to consider her like a Josh player, and I don't want to do that. So please, Michelle, do well, get to that final, and succeed. Next, we have the People's Champion for Battle of the Champion, Nerys. 2 seasons, elimination record of 3-1. Performance, she showed what she has, what she's talking about for New Champion and Ride or Dice, being a very strong competitor, nearly winning Battle for New Champion. I'm excited to see what Nerys has got. She's got some animosity towards another player we'll be talking about shortly. She's got connections to her boyfriend Horacio and Kyland, and I'm excited to see what could happen with Nerys in this field of competitors. Do I think she's of the caliber of a Laurel or a Cara Maria? No. But I think she's in the early stages of being one of those strong players, so I want to see how she'll compete alongside them. Next, we have Olivia. 2 seasons, elimination record of 3-1. She made the final in Ride or Dice and then got very, very seriously injured. And then for Battle of the New Champion, she made the move against Nerys, Horacio, and Kyland, and then got eliminated right before the final. I'm curious to see what will happen this season. I don't think Olivia is of the caliber of the rest of the women on this season, but I think she has the potential to go far in this season. Next, we have Paulie. 4 seasons. Elimination record of 3-4. We recently saw him on USA 2, where he was the first guy eliminated. Paulie did really well in his first 3 seasons. Final Reckoning, War of the Worlds, and War of the Worlds 2, making 2 of the 3 finals. He's in a relationship with Cara Maria. How I think Paulie is a very high variance player, where some scenes can go his way very easily and some scenes won't. curious to see what will happen this season. I think he has the potential. I just want to see him act on it. And lastly, we have Theo. 3 seasons, elimination record of 4-1, and performance. Theo is a very capable player, going very deep in all 3 of those seasons, making the final twice in War of the Worlds and War of the World and the World Championship. He's got some rivalries on this season with Supali and Cara Maria. And I don't know, I think making the final World Championship and then getting medically disqualified is going to fuel him to succeed and get that win this time. I think he has a chance to win. I just want to see how it'll play out. I'm very curious and excited to see Theo, as well as everyone on this Era 4 team. I'm pumped for this season and this cast. Let's go. And that is the entire cast for the Challenge Season 40 Battle of the Eras. I'm very excited for this cast. We've got one of the most stacked both men and women's casts in all of Challenge history. I don't see a single reason why to dislike anything from this cast, and I hope to see the flex on that. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I'll be covering both the challenge season and anything else in the future going forward. Until next time, Voidtune out.